Welcome. In front of me is a Google Pixel 4a, as you can obviously see, and today I will go over unboxing along with an overview of this phone. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. So the box, I would say fairly standard. It does have a weird logo here. I guess to signify that this is a official Pixel, not some kind of fake. Now you can also see the stats of the phone here. So 5.8 inch, 128 gigs. I love their naming of the devices. So I believe they have only like 2 colors, and the name is just perfect. Just black. Now I'm not necessarily a fan of these ideology of like naming phones, the colors, for instance like Aurora Blue or whatever some companies want to call it. So this is, I guess, Google's way of kind of making fun of them, saying just black, which I find it kind of funny. So let's pop it open. So in here we got some additional thickness to it, I guess, so the phone doesn't get bumped up. And as you can obviously see, I think the case or something was dropped. As you can see, it is kind of beat up in the corner. Now I'll also mention that the phone was already set up, so I don't have to. As you can see, that's kind of why it looks kind of a little bit trash here, and that's why also there is a protection on the display. But there we go. So there's the phone itself. Then furthermore, inside of here we got some Google booklet, such as instructions, SIM eject tool, and we really don't care about instructions, so straight to the side. Then we got, interestingly, we got a Type-C to Type-C cable, so that's kind of nice. And we did also get a charger, which some companies decided that it's not important anymore. And let's see how quick this one is. So this is a 15-watt charger. Now, it's nothing special, I would say. It does extend. Now, this isn't necessarily, this isn't really for my region. We have the European standard, I believe, which are just kind of like the 2 pins and not like these ones. So this won't work for me, but so then we got also another nice thing here. If I can actually pop it out. Well, this looks to be holding in there somehow. There we go. So this is a Type A to Type-C conversion, and if you're wondering what this will be used for, if for instance you have a USB stick, you can plug that into the device and then just straight jam the stick in here and your phone should read it no problem. So just a nice way of including it. Now I will mention not very many companies include those. For instance, Samsung I know was one of them, at least with their I believe Note 10 lineup, and then they just kind of dropped it. Not sure why. I really like the inclusion of it, but it might be not very cost effective to them. That's why they just don't bother including them. So I'm just gonna set that to the side neatly here, just so we have it displayed what's in the box. And honestly, that's basically all we get in the box. Now going to the phone straight away, you can see there's the display, and oops. So this is a 5.8 inch display, like I mentioned before. It is a 1080 by 2340 pixels, so basically full HD, OLED, HDR certified. Now, fortunately, it's not HDR10+, so it's a little bit of a shame. HDR, just a standard HDR, can be fairly lackluster, I would say. Basically the plus gets brighter and just looks a little bit better when you go to HDR10+, I mean. So this may not be the best experience, but still, it's OLED, so it should be fairly good, I would say. Now, outside of that, it has an 83.3% screen-to-body ratio, along with 443 pixels per inch. So the display is fairly densely packed here, and that is primarily due to the fact that this is a 5.8 inch display with a full HD resolution. So overall, a full HD resolution in this year, or 2020. I'm recording that already in the new one. But I'll just say, because this is a already device that has been out for some time, in 2020 1080p was and is basically the, I would say, bare minimum resolution that almost every phone gets to. And yeah, so really nice. Now, unfortunately, this device doesn't have, or the display doesn't have any kind of high refresh rate, so that is a little bit of a missed opportunity here. Some of the even like mid-range devices or budget ones came with higher refresh rate. This is just a standard 60 Hz, so you won't be getting any of those butter smooth animations, sadly. Now, also when it comes onto the glass on the front, it is, I believe, a Gorilla Glass 3. And then we also have plastic back and plastic frame, so the device won't be necessarily the pinnacle of sturdiness and durability, but still feels nice in the hand when you grab it. It does feel, I would say, premium, even though in a way this is a mid-range phone. The price is about $350. It's about maybe $400 if you add in tax. And as you can see, the back is fairly plain. It does mask out the fingerprint sensor fairly well. Now, another missed opportunity would be for the fingerprint sensor to be under the display. That's something that I already came to be used to, especially in 2020. It's kind of weird to see fingerprint sensors on the back. Now, this would add to the cost of the device, but then I've seen devices that cost like $200 with it and also have an OLED display. So, oh, it was also curved, so I'm not sure why it can't be done here. But yeah. Now, moving on to the next part of this device, it's gonna be the cameras. Now, as you can clearly see, there is not very many of them. I haven't tested them yet, but from what I've seen already on the internet, Google does fairly well with just a limited amount of cameras. They do some really decent software for it, so the cameras do perform really well, even though they're, I would say, mediocre at best, the sensors themselves. So at the front of the device we have an 8 megapixel wide sensor, shoots at 1080p 30, and then at the back, if I flip it over, it's also a single sensor, as you can see, even though the housing for it is a little bit big for what it's housing. This is a 12.2 megapixel wide sensor apparently, and this can shoot at 4K 30 or 1080p 3060, also 120. I believe this will be the slow motion though. Now let's actually pop the camera and see how that actually performs. So there we go. This is gonna be the back one. Now, before I actually get into it, I want to see if the settings are what I want it to be, basically maxed out. So ratio, go into settings, maybe here we will have a little bit more. So the resolution is set to highest. I guess there is not many settings, there's only a single lens, so I'm not sure what I'm expecting here. So let's hit our plenty here and just capture a photo here. Ooh, that is actually really nice. That I have not seen before. So as you can see, I did set, or maybe I'll move it like this. You can see that circle. This is basically where I tapped, and if you keep watching it, it basically keeps on point, where whatever the object I selected, it is still in the focus, and the focus is following that object no matter where I move the camera. So that is really nice. If you're wondering what I mean by this, also in normal circumstances, when you tap on the screen, for instance like so, the circle will stay in the same position of the screen. So for instance, if it was here, I move it, it will be, for instance, in this case there. But if I move it right now, you can see that it changes the position where it's focused. Normally on other devices it would still be in this place. So really nice. I do have to say that I really like this. Now we also, I can see we have a couple sliders. I'm not sure what this one does. Adjust only dark parts of, okay, so I can shift contrast, and then there's the brightness. Now I did blow it up, so let's make it back into the reasonable levels. Now I really like how those sliders are really quickly accessible. Okay, so there's a single photo, and you can see that when I zoom it in for a 12 megapixel lens, this is an outstanding photo. The colors of it, see the brightness, it is basically maxed out. The colors are close, they seem a little bit off, like there's a little bit more blue tint to it rather than what I'm actually seeing, but it's still really close, and the photo is really decent, so I can't really complain here. So also do a zoom, so this is ×2 zoom. Now this is gonna be just an optical, I believe. There's no additional sensors here, so it just kind of crops in on the resolution that it's already capturing at. And again, let's just zoom that in and see how it came up. So obviously it still does a really good job. Now you can see some blurriness overall, then it captures some things really well, for instance like the single thread, which is a little bit weird, but still the quality of this photo when you zoom it in is there. The phone does capture a lot of detail, even though it's using a only 12 megapixel sensor. So I cannot complain here. It is a really good camera. Now let's also go to the front sensor and see how that performs. If I can actually figure, oh, there we go. There's the flip over. Okay. So this is just a photo of me or whatever. Now, even though this is, what is it, like 8 megapixels, I have to say that the photo looks okay. There is detail in the background, even though the lighting of the back is a little bit weird. Also consider the fact that I was literally capturing with the light behind me, and it still did fairly decent job at just lighting my face up and keeping it controlled. So really good here. So I have no problems with it. There is detail in it, although it does, when you zoom in, become a little bit blurry, so I would say that's probably the fault of the 8 megapixels rather than the software itself. The software here is just really good. Okay, so moving outside of the camera department, which as you've seen was fairly decent. I really liked it. The camera app itself was really nice, I have to say. The controls that it gives you are basically controls that you want to have on, well, quick access, and just the focus that just follows the subject, something that I didn't know I wanted, and now I do want it everywhere. But moving outside of that and further to the specifications of this device, this phone, like we already seen, has 128 gigs built-in storage, comes with 6 gigabytes of RAM, Snapdragon 730G, and outside of that, if you're wondering what that means, it's basically a mid-range device in terms of specifications. The battery here is 3140 milliamps, which I would say for the size of this device, it is an okay size. The charger is only 15 watts. I would really like to see a faster charger than 15 watts, but still 15 is, I would say, okay-ish, especially considering that the device comes with stock Android, the newest one as always from Google, and comes without any kind of additional bloatware. So you do get, I would say, benefits and drawbacks here. Benefit would be just the system itself, the Android. Here it's going to be running, I would say, something like the best it can, because it is literally made by the people that made the operating system on almost every device, and this is their phone, so you expect it to run just perfectly here. Now, moving on to something that I actually did find interesting, the device does have a headphone jack. So if I lock it and move it up, you can see there is the headphone jack, which it came as a surprise to me. Now there is basically nothing else here. At the bottom, as you can see, we have the charging port and then speakers. I believe this tiny little thing here is a microphone. And what else? We got SIM tray. Now this looks like it's only a SIM tray because it does look fairly small. Let me pop it out and see if I am correct. So yep, there is only a single SIM tray here. So if you're looking to expand the storage of this device, you're kind of out of luck here. The 128 gigabytes is the only variant, and you cannot expand it further even if you wanted to. So that's a little bit of a shame. And outside of that, there's nothing more I can say about this device. It runs really well. It has everything that you'd expect. It comes at a mid-range specifications, along with a fairly, I would say, compelling price tag of $350, which personally, I'm not necessarily well versed in pixels, so I thought that it's going to be somewhere around like $500 for this device, and seeing it at $350 really makes it nice. Now, the phone in hand is, as you can see, fairly small. It's not too big, but honestly I really like the size of it. I'm not kind of the person that wants to have the biggest phone. Even though the bigger display is nice, this phone really feels nice in hand with the size that it comes in. It's fairly accessible to basically almost every corner. The fingerprint sensor does have a nice place for it, although I would maybe like it a little bit higher. It might be kind of weird because when I hold the device in this way, so I can actually access way more of the device, having my hand in the middle, my finger is a little bit high, as you can see. So other than that, I would probably like to have that fingerprint sensor overly under the display rather than behind the device, but I cannot complain. At $350, this is a fairly compelling device, and because it's made by Google and their operating system is on it, there is no additional bloatware. Basically, it is a stock of an Android as you get. As well as that, you do basically get majority of the newest updates to it. When Google makes a new Android version, you're basically guaranteed to get an update to it, assuming your device isn't really outdated. So again, another benefit of it. And I basically am kind of surprised by this device. It works really well. I really like it, even though it's not necessarily a flagship or of any sorts. It's not best at anything. It's just good at a lot of other things. The display is fine, the cameras are okay, the system is okay, the display lacks a refresh rate, but like I said, it's an OLED. Build quality, plastic, but feels really nice in hand. Performance is okay. It runs smooth. I don't have any problems with it. It's not a flagship though, so in certain cases it might be a little bit slower. So like I said, the device is good at a lot of things and not best at nothing. And that's not really a bad thing here. For $350, this is a phone that I would most certainly want to use on a daily basis, and I have no problem with it. Now, that being said, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.